The most interesting position on this roster has to be the secondary because Oklahoma's got a lot of options. And the biggest question is, how healthy can they be? Let's dive into that. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank you for pulling up to the channel. We're continuing our series of breaking down the rosters, and the next position is the secondary. We're going to look at the DBs. We're going to look at the safeties. We're going to look at the cheetahs. I mean, in theory, the cheetahs will be with the linebackers. But hey, it appears that our biggest cheetah will most likely be out of that safety room. So let's take a look at them. Let's look at some of these weight changes, some of these measurables, and see what's going on with the Sooners. When you dive into the secondary, the biggest question here is, who in the heck's going to be healthy in the secondary to actually play? More so at the DB spot. So we're coming into this year with a couple of positions that we anticipate should be leading the way. First and foremost, you have your corners, right? So we'll start there because I think they're the ones with the biggest question marks. Not that a bad thing. It's more of a, if we are healthy in this position, we will be really good. And that's when you look at the spots from Eli Bowen, who we know has been said it's going to be out until closer to Michigan-ish, beginning of the season. We'll probably get a reevaluation on that or whatnot. Makes me kind of be curious to what that looks like. But you got Kendall Dobie, who's back. He's up and down, dealing with some stuff, but he's back from that ankle injury he had against Tennessee, and he's expected to play at the beginning of the season. So a lot of precautionary stuff with him. Gentry Williams is back. He's also, in and out, I guess you could say, of the roster because, that shoulder situation last year had all of us basically stressed out about if he's going to, be able to play or not. But it sounds like he's kind of back to his old self. And so for Oklahoma, the question is, who's going to be your starting corner? So I'm looking through the roster and I'm keeping it a buck. When I look at this secondary, these numbers here, I really am kind of sold on the idea that you're going to probably see some J.J. Newcomb and Devon Jordan playing a lot. So from the last scrimmage, we saw and heard that both Newcomb as well as Devon Jordan played a lot. I mean, Jacoby Johnson didn't get as many reps, but I think that he was getting a little bit more in practices recently. But those young guys really got some reps. And J.J. Newcomb, a.k.a. Jeremiah Newcomb, reminds me a lot of Eli Bowen. And I think Bowen was more refined coming in comparison. So that's why you start to see him get the starts over him. But Newcomb's a little stout, yoked up little dude who's been fighting his whole life at 5'9". And, being from Arizona, trying to get acclimated and everything, I think that he may end up becoming a dude that plays a lot more than you anticipate. He may be one that rotates with Eli a lot, especially as we try to get Eli back to his form that we want him to be at in prep, playing, as far as the season goes. But if you get a healthy Gentry Williams out there at the corner spot, it's going to be some problems for defenders because Gentry was ridiculously good in 23. And now as a redshirt junior, he should be even better, right? But then you got some of the young guys, Cortland Guillory, Malik Hawkins, Tristan Haynes. But really the ones you've heard the most about has truly been Cortland Guillory. Like, people are saying that he's probably going to play. Like, that, it's going to be really hard to keep him off the field just because of how talented he's been. And I can totally see, and I can totally agree with that because, hey, he's scrappy. Even at 6'6" or whatnot, he's about as scrappy as you can imagine from a DB. Oklahoma needs more of those, especially here in the SEC. This is the position that I feel like will probably be the one that jumps out like in 23, the wide receiver room did. I think the secondary does that. I think the corner position specifically is going to be the one that jumps out the most for us. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. Because I am really high on what these DBs can be. I just need them to show it to me. Give me that. Close out for me. Show me that you can be those dudes. And I think that we're going to shock a lot because the defensive line is going to create a lot of havoc. I talked about that earlier. They're going to create a bunch of havoc. And if they create a bunch of havoc and the DBs don't have to be on an island for too long, they're going to be able to do what's needed. Like I remember when Isaiah Coe came on the show 2 seasons ago, and he said that was the big thing that they worked on the defensive line, is make sure they at least got their hands up. Get the pressure, get your hands up, because not only were they seeing a bunch of max protections, but getting your hands up, it allowed for tip passes, errant passes, bad ones, and the secondary could take advantage of it. That's when you saw your DBs get all them interceptions, and they could get those, they could pick that stuff up. Defensive line is going to provide that. But then here you look at the secondary, you look at the safety. Keeping it a buck, man. Robert Spears-Jennings better be a day 1, day 2 guy. Just saying. The talent's there. He was one of the top run defending safeties in the country in grades by PFF. I think he's like a 93 grade, right? He was like number 2 in the country. He's one of the top guys. He does a really good job on the run. And when he blitzes, ooh-wee, you get them hits that you get in the Tennessee game. We got the sack as well as the Auburn game. So I'm here for what Robert Spears-Jennings is going to produce. But the good thing is that if he does come out the game, you're not concerned about what's behind him. Reggie Powers is going to be probably either your starting cheetah or he's going to be your starting strong safety. I think he may end up taking that spot. I know Peyton Bowen is healthy and he's out there trying to ball and he's getting himself going. Reggie Powers is causing problems. Just keeping it a buck. I think that they're going to find a way to play him a lot, and they're going to try to find a way to play him a lot with Kendall Daniels. And we'll talk about Kendall Daniels more in the linebacker room because I feel like it makes more sense for him to be in the linebacker room. But we'll probably talk safeties as well. We'll talk cheetahs in the linebacker room as well at the same time. But Reggie Powers is one that, y'all know I hyped him last year as a true freshman. I saw it. I've seen the hitting. I am high on a dude that likes to hit people. If you make a highlight reel of you leveling folks, yeah, you're probably going to win my heart, period. And he looks thicker and bigger. 214. And he's been trying to stay steady in that weight range. They're trying to keep him consistently at around 215 and below because he can balloon up to 220 just because he's a stocky kid. I mean, standing next to him, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, you're a big boy. That's what you want. You want him in that range to maintain his speed. But he's a true sophomore, and he's going to play a lot this year. I honestly expect him to potentially be the starting cheetah. Kendall Dobie playing more on the outside while also mixing in a nickel. It's going to be fun to see how we move things around with that. But you still got Boganowski, who likes to hit people, right? Marcus Wimberly's coming off of, I think he had a surgery or whatnot on his shoulder. But Omarion Robinson, man. He's trying to fight for the opportunity to play right behind Jaden Hardy. Hardy is one that he's going to surprise a lot of y'all with his ability to play out there at the safety spot. He's, again, that part of that trio of dudes in which I expect in 2026 season, it's going to be Reggie Powers, Jaden Hardy, and Michael Boganowski. That's going to be your 3 safeties. That's your starters, period. I love man. I have appreciation for Marcus Wimberly. Heck, same thing for Peyton Bowen. That's your starting 3 right there. Period. Those 3 will be your starters next season. That is just what it is because the talent is there. And then even with the additional players we're bringing in, they're going to start. What we need now, though, is Peyton Bowen to blow up this year, get himself drafted at a nice spot in the draft, which I think that he's ready for it. He talked to the media. He's had some conversations and talked about his bounce back and how he's getting himself ready for this year. We could have a breakout year from Peyton Bowen. I'll give you guys my breakout players. I'll have one from each position, and I'll just give you a heads up. I think that Peyton Bowen should be that. I think he may actually end up being the one in the safety spot. So let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Want to hear your thoughts. How y'all feeling about the secondary? Do you think this secondary can go out there and shock college football, shock the SEC, and be the breakout group like the wide receiver room was in 2023? Want to hear your thoughts? Because that's where I'm thinking. I'm thinking they're going to end up being our breakout group. They're going to be the one that we're like, we got the most questions about, and they're the ones that like, oh no, they actually end up being probably one of the best groups on the team. I think that they're ready for that, and so that's my expectation. So let me know what y'all think. All right, we'll have linebackers and cheetahs coming up. Then we'll start on the offensive side of the ball next week. So make sure you hit the like, subscribe, bell notification, and we'll dive. That way you don't miss it. We'll dive into it. We'll talk soon. Peace.